Good evening. Please leave the light on. What shall we say of tonight's vigil, spent in the uncongenial company of Guy de Maupassant? How shall we explain his dreadful visitation? Is it only in the mind, or is it something more? Perhaps we must decide for ourselves, or perhaps we should not think about it too much. For that way, madness lies. May the 8th. What a lovely day. From my window I can see the Seine. About 11 o'clock, a long line of boats drawn by a steam tug passed by. Then there came a magnificent Brazilian three-master. The sight of the vessel gave me great pleasure. May the 12th. I have had a slight feverish attack for the last few days, and I feel ill, or rather, I feel low-spirited. May the 16th. I am ill. Decidedly, I am feverish. I have, without ceasing, the horrible sensation of some danger threatening me. May the 25th. My state is really very peculiar. As the evening comes on, an incomprehensible feeling of disquietude seizes me, and a fear of my bed. Then I go to bed, and I wait for sleep as a man might wait for the executioner. Then a nightmare lays hold on me. I feel that somebody is coming close to me, is looking at me, touching me, is getting onto my bed, is kneeling on my chest, is taking my neck between his hands and squeezing it with all his might in order to strangle me. And then, suddenly, I wake up, shaken and bathed in perspiration. July the 4th. Last night I felt somebody leaning on me who was sucking my life from between my lips with his mouth. Yes, he was sucking it out of my neck like a leech would have done. Then he got up, satiated, and I woke up so beaten, crushed and annihilated that I could not move. July the 5th. Have I lost my reason? What has happened? What I saw last night is so strange that my head wanders when I think of it. As I do now every evening, I had locked my door. Then I accidentally noticed that the water bottle was full up to the cut glass stopper. Then I went to bed and fell into one of my terrible sleeps, from which I was aroused in about 2 hours by a still more terrible shock. Having recovered my senses, I was thirsty, so I lighted a candle and went to the table on which my water bottle was. I lifted it up and tilted it over my glass, but nothing came out. It was completely empty. I looked at it with fixed eyes, trying to solve the puzzle, and my hands trembled. Somebody had drunk the water, but who? I? I, without any doubt. In that case, I was a somnambulist, was living, without knowing it, that double mysterious life which makes us doubt whether there are not two beings in us. I must go away. I shall start for Paris immediately. July 30th. I came back to my own house yesterday. Everything is going on well. August 6th. This time, I am not mad. I have seen. I can doubt no longer. I have seen it. I was walking at 2 o'clock among my rose trees. I distinctly saw the stalk of one of the roses bend close to me, as if an invisible hand had bent it, and then break, as if that hand had picked it. Then the flower raised itself and remained suspended in the transparent air 3 yards from my eyes. I am certain now that there exists close to me an invisible being who can touch objects, who is, consequently, endowed with a material nature, although imperceptible to sense, and who lives, as I do, under my roof. August the 7th. He drank the water out of my decanter, but did not disturb my sleep. August the 8th. I spent a terrible evening yesterday. I feel that he is near me, watching me, penetrating me, dominating me, and more terrible to me when he hides himself thus than if he were to manifest his constant and invisible presence by supernatural phenomena. August the 14th. I am lost. Somebody possesses my soul and governs it. I am no longer master of myself. I wish to go out. I cannot. He does not wish to, and so I remain. I am riveted to my chair, and my chair adheres to the floor in such a manner that no force of mine can move us. Then suddenly I must go to the foot of my garden to pick some strawberries and eat them. And I go there. I pick the strawberries and I eat them. Oh, my God, my God. Is there a God? If there be one, deliver me. Save me. Pardon, pity, mercy, save me. Oh, what sufferings. What horror. But who is he? This invisible being that rules me, this unknowable being, this rover of a supernatural race. August the 19th. I know all. I have just read the following in the Revue du Monde Scientifique. An epidemic of madness is at this moment raging in the province of San Paulo. The frightened inhabitants are leaving their houses, deserting their villages, abandoning their land, saying that they are pursued, possessed, governed like human cattle by invisible though tangible beings, by a species of vampire which feeds on their life while they are asleep, and which, besides, drinks water and milk without appearing to touch any other nourishment. I remember now that fine Brazilian three-master which passed in front of my windows as it was going up the Seine on the 8th of last May. I thought it looked so pretty. That being was on board of her, coming from there where its race sprang from, and he sprang from the ship onto the land. Oh, good heavens! The reign of man is over, and he has come. He whom disquieted priests exorcised, whom sorcerers evoked on dark nights. Without seeing him appear, he has come. What does he call himself? I fancy that he is shouting out his name to me and I do not hear him. Yes, he is shouting it out. I am listening. I cannot repeat it. Horla. I have heard. The Horla. It is he, the Horla. He has come. It is he, the Horla, who haunts me and who makes me think of these foolish things. He is within me. He is becoming my soul. I shall kill him. 20th. I have seen him. Yesterday I sat down at my table and pretended to write very assiduously. Behind me was a very high wardrobe with a looking-glass in it, so I pretended to be writing in order to deceive him. For he also was watching me, and suddenly I felt I was certain that he was reading over my shoulder, that he was there, almost touching my ear. I got up so quickly, with my hands extended, that I almost fell. Horror! It was as bright as at midday, but I did not see myself in the glass. It was empty, profound, full of light. But my figure was not reflected in it. How frightened I was. And then suddenly I began to see myself through a mist in the depths of the looking-glass, in a mist, as it were, or through a veil of water. And it seemed to me as if this water were flowing slowly from left to right, and making my figure clearer every moment. It was like the end of an eclipse. Whatever hid me did not appear to possess any clearly defined outlines, but was a sort of opaque transparency, which gradually grew clearer. I had seen him, and the horror of it remained with me and makes me shudder even now. August 21st. How could I kill him? Poison? Would our poisons have any effect on his impalpable body? No. Then... August 22nd. I sent for a blacksmith from Rouen and ordered iron shutters of him for my room. September 10th. Rouen, Hotel Continental. It is done. It is done. But is he dead? My mind is thoroughly upset by what I have seen. Well then, yesterday, the locksmith having put on the iron shutters and door, I left everything open until midnight, although it was getting cold. Suddenly, I felt that he was there, and joy, mad joy, took possession of me. I got up softly, and I walked to the right and left for some time, so that he might not guess anything. Then I fastened the iron shutters, and going back to the door quickly, I double-locked it with a padlock, putting the key into my pocket. Suddenly I noticed that he was moving restlessly round me, that in his turn he was frightened and was ordering me to let him out. I nearly yielded, though I did not quite, but putting my back to the door, I half opened it, just enough to allow me to go out backward. I was sure that he had not been able to escape, and I shut him up quite alone, quite alone. What happiness! I had him fast. Then I ran downstairs into the drawing room, which was under my bedroom. I took the 2 lamps and poured all the oil onto the carpet, the furniture, everywhere. Then I set fire to it and made my escape, after having carefully double-locked the door. I looked at my house and waited. How long it was. I already began to think that the fire had gone out of its own accord, or that he had extinguished it, when one of the lower windows gave way under the violence of the flames, and a long, soft, caressing sheet of red flame mounted up the white wall and kissed it as high as the roof. Almost immediately, 2 other windows flew into fragments, and I saw that the whole of the lower part of my house was nothing but a terrible furnace. But a cry, a horrible, shrill, heart-rending cry, a woman's cry, sounded through the night, and 2 garret windows were opened. I had forgotten the servants. I saw the terror-struck faces and the frantic waving of their arms. Then, overwhelmed with horror, I ran off to the village shouting, "Help! Help! Fire! Fire!" By this time the house was nothing but a horrible and magnificent funeral pile. A monstrous pyre which lit up the whole country, a pyre where men were burning, and where he was burning also, he, my prisoner, that new being, the new master, the Horla. He was there, in that kiln, dead. Dead? Perhaps? His body? Was not his body, which was transparent, indestructible by such means as would kill ours? If he were not dead, premature destruction? All human terror springs from that. After man, the Horla. After him who can die every day, at any hour, at any moment, by any accident, he came. He who was only to die at his own proper hour and minute, because he had touched the limits of his existence. No. No. There is no doubt about it. He is not dead. Then, I suppose I must kill myself. Come back tomorrow, and I will tell you the tale of Luella Miller. Sleep well, if you can.
David Tennant was the reader, and the stories are abridged by Robin Brooks. The programme was produced by Clive Brill for Pacificus Productions for BBC Radio 4.